Chinese New Year is the world's biggest party, as all over China, families get together to celebrate. We've been on a journey that has taken us to the farthest corners of this country to discover how people here celebrate the most important time of their year. Across the series, we've witnessed the incredible migration of people all over China as they travelled home for the Spring Festival. We've explored the magical ice city of Harbin, where families gather before New Year. And found out what New Year's Eve is like in Beijing at a special reunion supper with a local family. Tonight, we'll be celebrating Chinese New Year Hong Kong style and enjoying the days after New Year when the people hit the streets. From finding out about the ancient art of dragon and lion dancing...
Oh, sorry. Let's go around there.
...to enjoying some genuine Hong Kong glamour at the spectacular New Year night parade.
It's loud, it's noisy, it's a carnival atmosphere. Everyone's dancing.
And the party doesn't stop in the rest of China, as we discover at a traditional Beijing temple fair.
新年快乐！
新年快乐！
新年快乐！新年快乐！
Happy Chinese New Year!
In and amongst the glitzy buildings that line Victoria Harbour are older, colonial buildings that were once the headquarters of the British administration that ran Hong Kong. On the 1st of July 1997, Hong Kong was formally handed back to China, ending 156 years of British rule. Although it shares many cultural traits with China, as a global centre of finance and with its international history, Hong Kong has always maintained its own unique identity. The region of Hong Kong is on the southern coast of China at the Pearl River estuary. An area composed of more than 250 islands, the urban core of Hong Kong is Hong Kong Island and Kowloon. Kong is the Chinese word for harbour, and Hong means fragrant or picturesque. And indeed, before this became the metropolis it is today, it would have been very picturesque, a tiny little fishing community. Now it's an entirely different sort of picturesque. This is one of the most recognised and photographed skylines in the world.
Hong Kong truly is a vertical city. Because of its geography, space is at a premium, which means it has one of the highest population densities in the world. There are over 7 million people here, with 57,000 people per square kilometre in places. To house them all, the city has had to build upwards.
Today, Hong Kong has over 460 skyscrapers 100 metres or taller. London, just 49. And its tallest is the International Commerce Centre. You could take the Shard, put Nelson's Column on top 3 times, and it would still be smaller.
Hong Kong is also one of the world's most important financial trading centres and is home to 55 billionaires.
There are more Rolls-Royces per person in Hong Kong than any other city in the world. Plus, last year, one local businessman bought a diamond ring for £32 million. It was for his 7-year-old daughter.
Since 1997, Hong Kong has been run as a special administrative region of China, but with its own government and law. Unlike much of mainland China, people in Hong Kong speak Cantonese and are fiercely proud of their culture, language, and especially their cuisine.
So varied is the food here that people fondly joke the Cantonese will eat anything with 4 legs that isn't a table.
No other city embraces Chinese New Year celebration with such energy, enthusiasm, and sheer expenditure as Hong Kong. But despite its modern appearance, Hong Kong still respects ancient customs at Chinese New Year, especially when it comes to food. You can be certain of finding one food anywhere in China. Here in Beijing, noodles are on almost every menu.
If you're the manufacturer of instant noodles, then you're onto a good thing. The Chinese consume more instant noodles than any other nation in the world, getting through 40 billion packs a year.
But noodles are more than just a convenient snack. They're part of the culture. Chinese archaeologists even discovered them in the ruins of a 4,000-year-old house.
They're particularly important for birthdays and Chinese New Year. Well, one noodle in particular, and that is the longevity noodle because it's supposed to symbolise long life. Now, don't think of a longevity noodle as a sort of single strand like spaghetti. It's actually made in one enormously long length, and producing them is quite an art.
The longer the noodle, the more luck and long life you get. So I travelled an hour outside Beijing to meet chef Liu Hui, holder of the Shanghai Great World Guinness Record for the longest handmade noodle.
Ni hao. Good morning, Mr. Liu. How are you?
So what type of flour are you using here?
我用的这个是小麦面粉，只有小麦面粉的筋度才可以达到我要的那个效果。
And you've got some big mixing machines, but are the best noodles always made by hand?
这个是手工比较好一点，因为那个用手工和面才可以有自己的感觉。这个有时候做面，机器是不能完全替代人的，因为它有一个感觉在里面，就是用心去体会它那个面。
Making longevity noodles requires not only skill, but patience as well. And 2 hours later, we're ready to roll.
I wonder what Paul Hollywood would make of this technique. Like that?
哎
And all the way along?
Yeah.
After a lot of rolling, you end up with something much longer.
So our dough has been rolled, rested, rolled, rested, rolled, rested 3 times, and it now looks like this. And the next stage, apparently, involves a performance. There's the uncoiling.
Yeah. 那边。
So he's aiming. Oh my goodness, this is bonkers. It's like watching a magic trick. It's the most amazing thing. How long do you think this noodle will be when you're finished?
按照以前的经验，这一盘面做出来应该在500米左右。
How long was your record-breaking noodle?
最长的是1918米。
Look at that. All done.
Traditionally, longevity noodles are either fried and served on a plate, or boiled and served in a bowl with their broth.
So the big moment has come, the cooking of the giant noodle. And according to Mr. Liu, the amount of noodle that you put in is dictated by the size of the bowl. So guess how many centimetres of noodle might go in that? You're way off. It's 4 meters. Got to find the end. That's the tricky bit. In it goes.
The longevity noodle is a metaphor for the long walk of life. At Chinese New Year, cutting the noodle would mean bad luck. So I'd better have a go at slurping mine whole.
Really? Okay, here goes. This is a Happy New Year slurp.
But it's not just noodles that feature as part of the New Year celebrations. One of the most popular dishes during the festive period is fish, and throughout the holidays, Hong Kong's fish markets go into overdrive.
This is Aberdeen Fish Market. It's the biggest wholesale fish market in the whole of Hong Kong. And it's always busy, but in the run-up to New Year, it is absolutely frantic. The fish that's sold here will go out to hotels, restaurants, and food markets all over the city.
Covering 15,700 square metres, it's a place that reflects Hong Kong's international flavour, with catches coming from as far afield as the USA, Ireland and Australia. Fish from the main market are brought to smaller markets like this one in Barrington Road, and locals will come here every day to find the freshest fish that Hong Kong has to offer. The choice is overwhelming. Luckily, I have a guide to take me around the market, local chef David Lai.
David, one thing I've noticed in Hong Kong is that there don't seem to be supermarkets anywhere, really, that most people seem to buy their food in little street markets like this one.
In supermarket, there tends to be a lot of imported stuff, but at the wet market, it's mostly caught locally. And wherever in the world you go, the Chinese restaurant, you go to Chinatown, there's always fish tank. They always keep the fish alive as much as possible.
Right.
For example, the fish that are swimming in the tank,
Yeah.
they're worth almost twice the amount of the ones that are out of the water. Hong Kong began as a fishing village, so I think people have gotten used to the idea that, you know, fish should be very fresh.
I was just looking, when you said how fresh it is, I'm looking at, there are literally fish hopping about in the trays. And it's clearly a very important dish for New Year, but why is it? Because there seems to be a lot of beliefs around certain foods for this time of year.
The word fish is, in Chinese, is Cantonese, is yu. Yu, it means plentiful.
And does that then mean that by eating fish, the idea is that you have a bountiful year coming up?
That's the idea.
Fish is such an important part of the New Year festivities, and the shoppers here are experts when it comes to the best way to prepare it.
Can you tell me how you might cook it?
Traditionally, fish should be cooked whole, including the head and tail, to suggest completeness. And the head should always face the elders at the table as a mark of respect. Fish should always be the last dish on the menu, and it's particularly auspicious to have a little left over at the end. For the people of Hong Kong, when it comes to fish, it's possible to have any number of species on their table. But there's a community in northern China that has to go to extraordinary lengths to catch fish.
It's 5 in the morning, and I've come to what feels like the very ends of the earth. This is a way of life that's remained unchanged for centuries. I'm travelling with a convoy of fishermen in Jilin Province, 1,800 miles northeast of Hong Kong. This is Chagan Lake. The temperature is an eye-watering minus 40 degrees. Chagan means literally sacred or white.
And it's certainly white. That's because this entire lake is covered in ice, up to a metre thick. For locals, this is something of a sacred place, and that's because this vast lake is the home of the big head carp.
Big head carp is a local delicacy that the Chinese believe, like all fish, brings good luck for New Year. The people here have been fishing for carp in just this way for over 1,000 years. It's in their blood. This group is led by Mr. Zheng, an expert in tracking down shoals of big head carp.
Finding a spot here is no easy task. Chagan Lake is a featureless ice sheet. I look around, all I can see is horizon. It's 25 miles long and covers a surface of 160 square miles. That's basically the size of Glasgow. And what's incredible is that Mr. Zhang just seems to know where to look. There's no street signs, there's no map. I'd need a sat-nav.
我们打鱼的这个技巧是啥？根据我们这个多年的一种经验，但是我们就知道说是鱼往哪么走，但是啥，我们有个风向。最难的是咱们温度降低的时候，我们搁冰上是最难。我们最喜悦的时候是啥呢？我们打出好多的鱼，最多的鱼我们是最喜悦了。
They start by cutting a big hole in the ice. The first hole is critical. It's the entrance through which they'll eventually feed the net. The team launch a 15-metre pole into the water. It's attached to a rope like a giant needle and thread, which in turn is connected to the net. Moving out from here, they dig a series of 200 smaller holes so they can reach through the ice and guide the pole and net in the right direction. Using traditional tools, and with ice up to a metre thick, it's tough work. And I've offered to help, but I'm not sure the locals are too keen.
It's a sharp metal prod on the end of a wooden handle. He's using it to dive into the ice and create these smaller holes. Give me this one, my friend. You can relax. So once they've used the axe to kind of pick at the ice and create the hole, we then use this shovel to try and scoop it out. What? What's wrong? I'm doing my very best, my friend. He makes it look so easy. You can see now he's broken through the ice, water's come through. This hole's almost done. And they just go to the next one.
Whilst they dig more holes, back at the start, it's time to cast the net.
Now the guys are just spreading it out, making sure it feeds into the hole. Now it's an astonishing 2 kilometres long. What happens is if it has any snags, it won't spread under the ice. We want it to spread nicely and catch as many fish as possible. Massive team of people. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing, but absolutely freezing cold. So we've now travelled around 2 kilometres from the first hole we dug in the early hours this morning. And this is the end of our journey. This is the exit hole. It's here that they're going to pull the net from under the ice.
We may be in the middle of nowhere, but it draws quite a crowd. Locals buying their fresh fish from the lake mingle with curious tourists looking to take home a New Year's treat. The net has been underwater for 3 hours now, so it's time to bring it in.
Fishing in this way is a traditional method. It's 1,000 years old, and they're still using those techniques today. This is called a capstan, and it's driven by horsepower. What the horses are doing is they're rotating a central pivot and pulling the rope through. That rope is drawing the net from under the ice. It's so heavy that the fishermen themselves wouldn't be able to do it, and they rely on the strength of the horses. The harder it gets, the more weight, the more horses they use. In this case, 4 horses is enough. It's really strange. There's a kind of expectant calm before the storm. The whole place is really busy, but it feels really quiet. People realise that the catch is coming. After about an hour of the net not really producing any fish, it is now filled to the brim with fish. Whoa, 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 we're pulling it out, we're pulling it out. Everybody's just getting involved. There's fish everywhere. There's a real sense of excitement. There's some real monsters in these nets, some massive, massive fish. You could feed a whole family based on just one of these. This is it. This is the big head carp that I came here for. Mr. Zhang says I can take a fish home. Now all I need to do is find someone to cook it for me.
The harvest takes 2 hours to pull in, and it's a bumper catch. The fish are packed into baskets and taken back to the shore of the lake, where they'll be packed and distributed all across China. It's been a long day. The haul has been a good one. And now we're finally off the ice, I really want to see what all the fuss is about. The traditional way to cook big head carp is to braise it with chilies, ginger and spring onions.
And here it is. Do you know what? It looks and smells absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? So this is the bit I've been waiting for the most. After a long, hard day grafting on the ice, this is the reward. I get to try the fish. Caught in the morning, cooked in the evening. Oh, that is absolutely sensational. You can really taste the flavours. You don't get fresher than this. Guys, dig in, dig in. This is amazing. This is why the people of China really embrace fresh fish in Chinese New Year.
The fish is an important animal symbol at Chinese New Year, but there are many others. One powerful mythical creature that holds enormous significance in Hong Kong and indeed all of China is the dragon. Think of a Chinese New Year celebration and you're almost guaranteed to see this, the ancient tradition of dragon dancing. It's especially important at New Year, as Chinese legend has it that dragons are famed for bringing good luck to any new venture. This tradition and art still thrive even in 21st century Hong Kong, where the city's skilled dragon dancers are always highly sought after. In Kowloon, Andy Kwok leads the Kwok Kung Fu and Dragon Lion dance team, one of hundreds across China. I've come to see the team's final preparations for the festivities.
Hi. Hello. Good morning, I'm Kate. Lovely to meet you. Oh, my goodness, this is amazing.
This is called dragon dance, and also we call this is daylight dragon dance.
Daylight dragon dance.
Dragon.
What's the significance of the dragon for Chinese New Year? Why is it so important?
I think in your country, this dragon is a little bit evil, right?
Right.
But we are not.
You're not evil.
Yeah,
so your dragon
is God.
Is kind, is benevolent.
Yeah. Also bring all the good luck, money, happiness to people.
So this is a key part of any Chinese New Year celebration, is having a dragon as being part of that.
Yes. Dragon, lion dance, and kung fu.
Dragon, lion dance, and kung fu. So they're all connected.
Yeah.
More
Just like
subtle.
But the lion dance is also like this.
Okay.
Okay? So you see the dragon dancer.
Could I have a go and just see what it's like to hold?
Lovely. Okay.
Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Look at it.
So this one.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the dragon was a sign of strength and power and was often used by China's emperors as their own symbol.
It's surprisingly heavy when you're doing this.
The most revered of the mythical animals, its movements in a performance must demonstrate its power and dignity, and the longer it is, the more luck it will bring the community.
Oh my God, okay.
Let go.
Sorry.
3撳低。
I thought I was quite fit, but you use every part of your body, don't you?
Yeah.
Every muscle.
Yeah.
So that's where the kung fu comes in, that physical training.
Yeah.
You all absolutely have to work as a team, don't you?
Just like breathe together.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this?
Because my father is the master. Maybe in my mother's, inside my mother.
You were dragon dancing before you were born.
Yeah.
But dancing dragons aren't the only creatures that play a part in New Year's celebrations. There are lions that dance too. Only the most advanced kung fu artists are allowed to be lion dancers. It takes two performers in complete synchronicity, a bit like a highly acrobatic pantomime horse.
Really interesting is that, you know, for many people, a lion is a frightening animal, but it's funny, it's comic.
Yeah. Fighting is just one face for the land.
Okay.
He also have many other faiths.
Right.
Just like now, he's to drinking the wine.
It's brilliant.
We will always create some new story to let the performance more and more modern.
More modern, yeah. It's brilliant. And do you perform full-time? Is this your full-time profession?
This is my full-time.
So
full-time
there
job.
is enough work.
Yeah.
Andy's elite team are in demand year-round, in Hong Kong and across China. I caught up with them again at their latest booking, a Hong Kong shopping centre's New Year celebrations.
It's the most incredible performance. If that doesn't give the shopping centre good luck and prosperity for the rest of the year, I don't know what will.
On New Year's Day, shows like these can be seen across China as people come out for a bit of fresh air. 1,200 miles north of here in Beijing, Dave Myers and Sai King went to find out what Beijingers get up to on New Year's Day. For most people, New Year's Day might involve a walk to blow the cobwebs away. In China, it's no different.
Now, at New Year, you see, in China, when all the feasting and the celebrations are over, the people of China like to come to one of these, which is a temple fair.
It's a tradition that dates back hundreds of years. It's an opportunity to get out into the open air, you know, to burn off a few calories and to go for a stroll with your family or your best chum. So what do you have to do?
Well, I think the coin's got to cover the little round
Oh, I
thing.
get you.
Right now.
Oh!
从那边看就能看。
Oh!
小点，你看拿定多少了？
Get in, come on.
No, I've got it's mine.
That was mine.
It's mine.
There are some pretty serious rules you have to follow if you don't want to completely mess up the year ahead.
Rule number 1, no medicine on the first day of the Lunar New Year, because it's believed that if you take any medicine on the first day of the year, you'll be ill all year. That's no good.
Rule 2.
No porridge.
But I like porridge.
You can't have it. It's a peasant food, and you'll be eating poor food and be poor all year if you eat porridge on the first day of the year.
Rule 3.
No sweeping, because it means that you're sweeping away the wealth of the new year to come.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Hello.
新年快乐. 新年快乐.
新年快乐.
新年快乐. Oh, look, even Granny's in.
Temple fairs became especially popular during the Qing dynasty.
In Beijing, there are 4 cosmological temples which occupy the 4 points of the compass. You have the sun in the east, heaven in the south, the moon in the west, and here we have the Temple of Earth in the north.
At the Temple of Earth, every new year the emperor would come to worship the god of Earth.
Nowadays, people gather to watch a reenactment of this ancient ritual. There's the emperor, Si.
There he is.
Every year the emperor would leave his palace in the Forbidden City and go and negotiate with the gods for a prosperous and auspicious new year for the people.
It's a real nod to China's imperial past, this, isn't it?
It is, very much so.
The Qing dynasty was the last great imperial dynasty to rule China until their fall in 1911. Hello, Happy New Year.
In recent years, in the People's Republic of China, there has been a revival of interest in the imperial past.
It's going back in time, isn't it?
We've been given the chance to catch up with the emperor himself, Mr. Qi Xuan. I've never met an emperor before.
That was the most wonderful spectacle. One thing I've learned at this New Year, the Chinese have a love of the family and a love of tradition. And out there, it just encapsulated all of the love and tradition that you see in modern China.
对对对，你说的很对。中国人特别重视这古老的文化、家庭的观念，跟国家的观念特别相通的。
Back in Hong Kong, as night falls, the main New Year's Day celebrations are just about to get started. This is the beginning of the famous night parade with over 150,000 people lining the streets and an incredible 2,500 performers. Luckily, we've got a backstage pass.
My Hong Kong parade preparation has started much earlier. This is the backstage area where all the performers gather before heading out onto the route. And there's definitely an atmosphere of anticipation.
Now, I'm not going to be a spectator this evening. I'm actually going to be part of the parade itself. And I have the privilege of riding the Hong Kong Tourism Board float. And here she is. And you can see it's all brightly coloured with neon lights, and of course, it's scattered with monkeys everywhere. The last time someone was allowed to be on a float was in the year 2000, a certain Jackie Chan.
The huge audience the parade draws attracts performers from all over the world.
Where are you guys from?
The Netherlands, Tilburg.
Did you make this?
Yeah.
Girls, where are you from?
Scotland.
There's always one. There's just time for some final rehearsals. Organising this whole operation, including over 2,000 performers, is Mason Hung.
Mason, you're the grandfather of this event. So go back to the very, very first event. What was that like, and why did you start?
Originally, at the beginning, we think about something very traditional, but Hong Kong is an international city.
Yeah.
So we would like to do something, in a sense, Chinese, but also in a sense, international. It becomes more colorful and more exciting.
I've got the privilege of being on one of the floats tonight.
Yes.
What advice would you give me?
Make sure you don't fall off and enjoy.
As the acts go through a pre-show performance, I make my way back to my personal chariot, which is the very last float in the parade.
Hey, good luck, guys. Happy New Year! Are you ready? Yeah, good luck! That's what's absolutely brilliant about this parade. It's not just professional performers, children, schools, everybody gets involved. It has a real sense of community and a global participation. I've got to go and get my jacket on, my red lucky scarf, get on my float and join in this massive parade.
As well as the school kids and me, there are other amateur performers here. These dancers are genuine airline cabin crew.
So this is it. We're through the gates and the parade's begun. There's our man, the organiser. So the first part of the parade is simple. This is the VIP area. There's 1,000 VIPs. Whoa! I'm now being showered with hot metal. I think it's my hair burning. Bye! Bye!
I still have the best view of the parade. Kate's stuck out there, somewhere in the crowd.
It's a forest of mobile phones and selfies. I'm battling my way through. Look at these lions, they're just fantastic.
Happy New Year!
As we head out on our lap of the city centre, we're going to be passing some of its most famous landmarks.
This is the clock tower built in 1915, and it's here as a symbol of migration from Hong Kong. It's the first thing you see when you enter the harbour, and of course the last thing you see when you leave. Once we've passed the tower, we meet the people of Hong Kong.
Everyone's loving the dragons. Now you'll see in front of all the dragons, there's someone carrying a pearl. Everyone's touching it for good luck. That's supposed to represent wisdom. And the dragon is in this constant pursuit of wisdom. That's what the pearl means.
This whole city's partying. Thank you. Amazing. Someone in the crowd has just given me a red envelope. It's a tradition in China. It's supposed to bring good luck.
At Chinese New Year, giving red envelopes is a hugely popular custom.
There's cash inside. Thank you very much, my friends.
These incredible stilt walkers have come from the Netherlands. Just magical, these dinosaurs. Absolutely glorious. Ah, look at you!
We've entered Canton Road. This is Hong Kong's equivalent of our Bond Street. And somewhere here should be Kate Humble. There she is! I can see her, there!
How you doing?
Happy New Year, Miss Humble!
But the celebrations don't stop here. The following day in Hong Kong sees one of the world's biggest pyrotechnic performances. China produces 90% of the world's fireworks, and many of the fireworks for tonight's event have been shipped from Liuyang.
In Liuyang, every day starts with a bang. For the people here, a day without detonations is a missed opportunity. That's because Liuyang, nestled in the lush green landscapes of Henan province, is China's biggest producer of fireworks. Over half the world's fireworks are made right here in this region.
Fireworks is a way of life for the people here. 1/5 of the population, that's over 300,000 people, work within the industry.
The tradition of firework making in Liuyang goes back more than 1,000 years. A local monk called Li Tian wanted to frighten off evil spirits, so he filled pieces of bamboo with gunpowder and blew them up, creating the world's first firecracker. Today, Li Tian is still honoured as the inventor of the firework, with a Taoist temple devoted to him in Liuyang.
You can see there's 3 statues here. On the left, we've got Taoyuan. This is the guy that invented paper. On the right, San Sun Yang. This is the guy that many believe invented gunpowder. And in the middle, we've got the main man, Li Tian. You can see he's holding that bit of bamboo shoot. This city owes so much to him. He's held in great esteem. It would be the equivalent of us back in the UK having a temple or shrine to Isambard King Brunel.
Ancestor worship is an important part of Chinese culture. So local firework makers come here to pay their respects to this man who founded their industry. The constant background of bangs doesn't put them off venerating Li Tian.
So what's it like living with all those fireworks going off all the time?
我们习惯了，1000多年了，都一直都是在这个爆竹声中长大的。对我们来说那就不是噪音了，那是一个吉祥的符号，这个吉祥的象征的，我感觉挺自豪，很习惯的这种声音。
These days, fireworks are a big business, and there are now over 800 fireworks companies in the Liuyang area. Dancing Fireworks is a 20-year-old family-run company. It now employs 1,600 people. By far, the most popular fireworks the Dancing Factory makes are what is known as display shells. These are for huge events like the Beijing Olympics, which Dancing supplied.
Display shells like the ones in this warehouse go up to 300 metres and explode into massive starbursts. And they're still largely made by hand in factories like this.
The workers at Dancing produce an extraordinary 2.7 million shells a year. That's one shell every 12 seconds. Each shell is made of a dome of pressed cardboard with a time delay fuse stuck in with string and glue. The Dancing Factory doesn't just assemble fireworks, it also comes up with new designs for the global market.
One of the main ingredients used to make gunpowder is a chemical called saltpeter. Now, they used to get it from bat droppings found in caves. Nowadays, they make it synthetically, but the principle's about the same. The science behind fireworks, however, that's really evolved. And I've been given special permission to come here to the factory development lab to take a look. Zheng Zheng is the lead scientist here. He's obsessed with pyrotechnics. So if you could make any firework, like your ultimate dream firework, what would it be?
这做的是红色的，那个圆圆的、大大的。
Zheng has agreed to share his secret recipe for red fireworks with me.
So what's it like, that moment that you've designed something in a laboratory here and you get to see it explode for the first time? What does it feel like?
那可以说是欣喜若狂了。
It's magical, right? You've got the best job ever. I want to do this. I want to make one myself.
聚热乙烯、高日酸钾，这是氧化剂高日酸钾。
All right, so mix it up. I'll just pour that in there, yeah?
The mixture we've made is carefully spooned into a tube. Time to find out if the recipe has worked.
So this is the fun bit. This is Mr. Zheng's test facility where I get to set light to these bad boys and then watch them burn. Now, hopefully, if we've got it right, these are going to be red. So, get that down there. I've got a lighter.
嗯。炉啊，都烧了，你这个机子是？
Hit the lights. This is it, moment of truth. What's happening? Whoa! It's red! This is it, it's actually red. This is fantastic. I'm now a bona fide fireworks maker.
Despite the joys of flashes and bangs, making fireworks is a highly dangerous business. And at dancing, the most hazardous job in the assembly line, putting explosives inside the shells, takes place in a secluded area cut into the hillside. In such flammable conditions, it's essential to prevent electrical sparks.
As staff enter this area, they have to touch this metal pole. That's to prevent static. So that really works. This area has a real calming feel about it, and that's quite deliberate, because the job that these guys are doing requires precision. It has to be safe. If they get it wrong, the outcome could be catastrophic.
The technician carefully adds the balls that will give the firework its colour, and the ingredient which makes it explode, rice kernels coated with flammable compounds. Once the shell is packed with explosives, it's time to wrap it. Different clients demand a different finish. The Americans like a machine wrap, while the Japanese prefer theirs handcrafted. Everyone here is paid by the firework, so they're very fast workers.
So you're really quick at this. How many do you get through a day?
这个大的呢就是200个，小的呢可以做500个到600个一天。
The shells are left to dry before being sent all over the world.
And here it is, a finished firework. Now, the factory has to make sure that these definitely work, and the only true way of doing that is to let them off. And it's nearly dark.
I'm joined by Dancing Factory's general manager, Eva Chung, for an hour's quality control, just a perk of her job. Every evening, the hills of Liuyang are alive with the sound of fireworks as each factory detonates its latest designs.
Seeing your fireworks in the sky, how does that make you feel?
I'm so proud of it. It's my father's business and also our family business. We made it from nothing, and we light the night sky.
Back in Hong Kong, the fireworks for tonight's display have been set up on 3 barges in the middle of the harbour. The budget for tonight's event is a staggering £750,000 and takes months of planning and preparation. Wilson Mao has been in charge of producing the show since 1997. takes a week to load up the barges with 4,500 kilograms of highly explosive pyrotechnics. Wilson's mapped out a spectacular show, so he's making sure they're positioned perfectly to go off at the right place and time.
So those are the launch tubes, so the actual explosives, the fireworks, are stuffed in those?
Yes.
Right.
There's an electric match together with the shell. When the electric match ignites, the shell is going to propel from the launch tube.
Isn't there any danger when you've got this much explosive in one crate that one will go off and that will somehow set off the rest of them?
We have very rare incident like what you said. Although sometimes there may be some fire burn on some wires, that may happen.
Right.
Millions will be watching around the harbour and across the nation on TV, so Wilson's devised an ambitious firework to celebrate the incoming year.
We had 60 monkey faces in the show.
For the Year of the Monkey?
For the Year of the Monkey, that's right. We have the monkeys.
Oh, look at them.
He's spent months timing and testing his monkey face design.
Scene 3.
But for now, the show exists only in his imagination and this computer simulation. It's still an unpredictable art, and there's so much you just can't control.
Sometimes the 2D effect doesn't turn out to be facing to the audience because the shell is spinning in very, very high speed. And if it bursts like this,
yeah,
you will see the monkey face. But if it turns out like this, if it bursts like this, you'll see a line. You won't see the face.
So you might just get a completely different view.
Oh yeah, we can't do any kind of rehearsal. That 23 minutes is the moment of truth.
Night has fallen, and there's now over 150,000 people cramming every viewpoint around Hong Kong's Victoria Harbour. And we've got a prime spot ready for the New Year show.
Here they go! Woohoo! Oh my goodness! On the other side, there's another whole crowd of people, and there's just this kind of constant winking of cameras going on. Oh my God! Wow!
We began our journey in the ice city of Harbin. We followed the millions of people on the move, heading home to their families.
Oh, that's so sad. Makes me cry.
And we've gone behind the scenes of this immense festival as no one has before.
They're about to do the performance of a lifetime.
We've enjoyed this celebration with people all over China.
We need to be the same length.
Cheers!
Discovering a little bit of what it is to live in this enormous country during the biggest celebration in the Chinese calendar.